What do you say, guys? We're hearing from some sources, and we'll talk about that Luis Vasquez is getting promoted to the major leagues. And it would make sense going into an off day because of the injury situation that the Cubs are dealing with. So we're just going to do a quick show and talk about it. If it does turn out to be true, what the Cubs are getting with Luis Vasquez. I've talked about it on here. They waited too long. They should have done this the minute that Nico Hoener had the hamstring issue and given this guy a chance to come and help them play defensively and maybe even give them a little bit of a jolt at the plate. But I'm going to tell you why I think that he's coming up. And I've been waiting on this, honestly, thinking that this was a move that the Cubs had to make for the last week. And so we're going to find out. Maybe the Cubs made a mistake not doing this sooner. But according to sources, according to his mom, he's coming to the major league. So we're going to talk about that. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That's a way that you say, hey, man, I appreciate you talking about Cubs baseball. And let's get this thing started. Let's go. Going to go right now. And the way that we do it is we hit this button right here. All right, guys, what do you say? Everybody that's hanging out, we're getting this thing cranked up. And, obviously the Cubs are having a tough time right now scoring at the big league level. They're also playing without a real bona fide shortstop. And if you have one on the 40-man roster that's in AAA, why not make the move to bring him up? And I was puzzled by this. There's probably something that I don't know behind the scenes as for why you wouldn't have brought him up. Instead, Nico Hoener has been out all week with some kind of a hamstring issue. You had this guy who I'm telling you is a Gold Glove caliber shortstop sitting in the minor leagues doing his thing and obviously not playing at the big league level when you need him. And now, according to Twitter, according to a source, here it is right here. I'm going to pull it up. Jorge Castillo is reporting right now that he is hearing from Miss Vasquez that Luis is getting called up to the major league. So we find out in different ways, right, guys? But there it is. And if this is true, and look, I'm not going to argue with Luis Vasquez's mom right there. But this is something that the guys worked really hard on. And so on the way to the major leagues, he goes, according to Castillo. But this doesn't come as a big shock. The shock is that this didn't happen earlier in the week. Now, when you talk about Luis Vasquez, let me get into his game for you a little bit, kind of what he brings to the table. He is, first off, a defender. And at 19 years old, he came up to Double-A because of so many injuries that year and played in 25 games. Didn't hit much, but started making all the plays at shortstop. And there just came that time where you were like, man, this guy, he can just straight pick it, right? And then 2020, we didn't have a season. 2021 started to have that development, got back to Double-A. 2022, 86 games in Double-A, was amazing defensively, played some at Iowa. Then in 2023, started the season in Double-A, was again just brilliant defensively, but the bat started to come along. And that was something that some people really didn't see up until 2022. No one really looked at Vasquez as a guy that could hit. And look, his career batting average is 239. But you look at what the guy has been able to do over the last couple of seasons. 2023, after hitting 179 in Iowa, hit 271 for the season, showed some pop too, with 9 home runs, 43 batted in, and then all of a sudden just hit 20 home runs the next year with 80 knocked in, 2023. And so this year he's got a 262 batting average, 3 home runs, 11 batted in, 360 on base percentage. It just continues to to Pickett. That's kind of his thing, using the glove and playing great defense. And, and that's why I feel like the Cubs are at a spot where they could use him. Now, here's the thing that worries me, okay? So Nico Hoener and Dansby Swanson went through all the pregame workouts today. And from what we understood, he was doing okay, right? And look, here Tom's saying this, like he's been playing third base lately. Well, you don't know. I mean, maybe it's Christopher Morel's toe, right? That could be bothering him. And maybe that's why he's going to get the call up. But there's a reason why he's going to be called up. And the reason is that the Cubs need someone that can go in there and play every day excellent defense, not a guy that's just going to fill in and you put him out there and they're going to be exposed over the course of a week. This is a guy that you put out there every day. He takes hits away from the other team. So, I didn't even think of that, Tom. Maybe you're exactly right. Maybe that's what's going on, but something else is causing this move. And it could be that Nico Hoener didn't make it through his workouts and now he's stiff and they're going to put him on the IL. It could be that Dansby Swanson isn't ready to come back again on Tuesday, which is what everyone was expecting when those two worked out today with the Cubs before the game. Christopher Morel fouled a pitch off of his foot in Atlanta. You remember that epic at bat that he had in the ninth inning, and then the next day he was hit on the foot. So you're right. Maybe that's the case. But to have this guy sitting in Iowa when you're dealing with all of the injury issues, and you got Miles Mastroboni, who's a good, honestly, a really good player, and plays the game hard, but he's just not an everyday shortstop. DJ says Morel's been limping around, and hey, that could be it too. That is a very good. I didn't see him limping around, but I believe it. I mean, I know that the foot's been killing him, and I'm guessing that the reason why that he stuck it out so much is because he's just trying to help this team, and helping this team, meaning that the Cubs just don't really have, a lot of help right now. And they need some help, and because there's so many guys that are injured, right? One other player that I want to bring up too is Brennan Davis. The guy has been just ripping the cover off of the ball in Iowa. I mean, this is someone who it's do or die time for him. And the only thing that he's doing right now is making his value go up, whether that's value of coming up to the big leagues with the Cubs and helping the Cubs, or another organization looking at him and saying, hey, let's take a chance on Brennan Davis. Those two things can help the Cubs immensely. But, but obviously Luis Vasquez going to the major leagues is going to set off something else. I don't know what the other part of it is, but if you guys are just jumping in, it's Jorge Castillo reporting that Vasquez is being called up because his mom, I'm sure she was pretty fired up about about this move being made, right? And her son getting a chance to go to the major leagues and help the Cubs out. And again, I'm excited about it because I know the guy can help the Cubs. And on top of that, I think that this is an area where the Cubs have really struggled over the last, week without having Nico or Dansby. And, and hopefully this is going to be something that we see. So now people were saying that maybe Nico Hoener goes to the IL. I'm seeing that on Cubs Insider. I don't think we'll know until the Cubs announce what that move is, because, some of you guys are saying, and I'm not disagreeing at all, that Hoerner's been hurt. We know that, but that also Christopher Morel has been dealing with this foot injury after fouling that pitch off of his foot. So those are the two things that we'll see. Again, thanks for jumping on with us as we kind of keep an eye on this and exactly what's going on. But just wanted to jump on and just tell you guys, hey, here's what the move is right now. According to his mom, according to sources, we'll find out more later, but that Luis Vasquez is being called up. That means that something isn't probably too good for someone else, and that either Nico Hoener or Christopher Morel could end up on the IL is my best guess, unless you move Miles down and you move him up because you need somebody to and Joe, I know he just said that, so maybe it's Morel. I don't know. He did say that. Cancel said that he expected him back Tuesday, so I don't know. But this came up, and you never know what happened from the time that the game ended and he talked to the press until now, other than the Cubs are in need of some help there. And DJ, you're right, man. I like Miles. He plays hard, but 2 for 45, if that's the number, and I haven't looked it up, but I'm not disagreeing. I mean, it seems like he's out an awful lot. That's not cutting it either, but you would have to have a spot for Dansby to come back. So you would figure that'd be the move. The fact that Vasquez is coming up tells you that, there has to be something else going on. Right. So I don't know, but we'll be watching. So my best guess is, and I'll tell you guys this, and Joe, thank you so much, man. First off, it's either Nico to the IL or Dansby isn't coming back and they need an everyday shortstop, right? So maybe he's not ready after the knee. I know they went through and did their workout, or Morel's foot's really barking and they want to give him a rest, and that Vasquez comes up and starts playing third base. So those are all possibilities that I think could possibly happen just because of the numbers. Because if Dansby comes back, you're going to move Masterboni or Pete Crow Armstrong down, probably Masterboni. So that still leaves you at the same spot. So somebody else would go on to have to bring him up. Ronald says, "Hey, I bet you it's Nico." Yeah, the whole Nico situation to me, and I'm not, I hate to criticize, but look, I mean, why in the hell has he been on if he hasn't played all week? Why after 3 days, if he's not playing, bring up the other guy and let's go. Because it's not helping the team right now to have him sitting on the bench every day. Let him go get rehabbed and work through it and get somebody else up that's ready to play. You got 40 men. You got 40 men on the 40-man roster, and you got a lot of people that play a lot of baseball to be ready to take that spot. The Cubs have one of the strongest organizations in baseball. You got to take advantage of that. So that's just kind of where I'm at right now. Anyway, I don't know. What do you mean? Is there a trade with Houston? I don't, if somebody explain this to me, trade with Houston. I mean, maybe I missed something. Anyway. All right, look, it's Luis Vazquez time. What are my thoughts on a trade with Houston? Do you mean just if you're going to go out and make a deal with Houston to get players because, they're struggling right now? I think that you got a system that can handle some trades. And I think that this team's like, you go through all of this stuff and you're still one of the best teams in baseball. For Bregman, hey, look, I would do that. You certainly have the talent to make a trade like that. You certainly have it. You got talent, so if that works out, then I wouldn't trade Owen Casey. So I'm going to tell you guys that right now. Hey, go Cubs. Good to see you, Michael. I wouldn't trade Owen Casey. He's the one guy that to me would be untouchable. Davis getting hot like that. Why not bring him up? I'm with you, but that's what this time of year is so tough. Because we're so far from the trade deadline, even a team like Houston could get hot and then burn right into being in the wild card mix. I mean, you got 3 wild cards now, so it's not like you could get close to 500 and, and make something happen. Now, DFA Madrigal, I don't think they're going to do that, but the more Madrigal plays, the more Masterboni plays, you realize they're role players and you're not going to win with those guys playing every day, but that's never what their job was to be. Their job was always to just come in and help you, just fill in a spot. I mean, Madrigal was great when he was just coming into the late innings and playing defense. But, look, do you take, and do you take Madrigal over Masterboni? I don't know. I mean, what I'm hoping is that guys like Shaw and Triantos And, what about David Bodie? I mean, at least he's got some pop in his bat. Look, you guys have asked me why David Bodie is, basically sent to Siberia. I don't know. But I would think that he's just as good as Master Boney or just as good as Magical, except he's got a little more pop. I don't know what the deal is there. But, yeah, he's the Shadow Realm. So it really is baffling to me. And honestly, somebody will probably tell me what the real deal is here, but I haven't heard yet. If I did, then I'd probably understand this a little bit better. But, just crazy to me to think that, he hasn't been up in forever. I don't think he can play shortstop, Bodie. He just doesn't have the range, doesn't have the feet, but he can play second base. And he'll hit you some home runs. And I mean, like, he could play some third. He could play some outfield. There's a spot for him right now with all these injuries. But yeah, I'm kind of baffled by that whole situation. But again, guys, and I see that a bunch of you jumped on here. It's been reported now that Luis Vasquez is being called up, and we don't really know what the right now the move is that's going to accompany that. As I'm kind of jumping through Twitter here, but according to his mom, through sources, he is on the way to the big leagues finally. So that tells you a little bit about kind of the situation with the Cubs, and then the thing that we're trying to figure out is what is he going to do? Is he going to play third base for Morel? Is he going to play shortstop for Dansby Swanson? I mean, he could play second base. There's a lot of stuff that the guy can do. He's an excellent defender, but where he's really, really amazing is just watching him play the shortstop position on a day in, day out basis, and what he's able to do there. But let me pull up the original tweet again from Jorge Castillo, because he's the one that got the news, and it's right there. Cubs are calling up Luis Vazquez. That's according to his mom. So there you go. All right, he's on his way to Wrigley, and that's pretty exciting, just to see the hard work that the guys put in, to know what a great fielder he is, to know what he could help this team do. The fact that they waited a week, and they're losing in pretty much all these close games. A double play opportunity missed here, something missed there, and we'll find out what the corresponding move is, guys. So, and I know a lot of you are saying Brendan Davis should be next. Look, I mean, maybe you bring and he's on the 40 man. Maybe you bring him up and you go, you know what? Let's see if we can catch lightning in a bottle, because it's not like you're getting any production out of Ian Happ. And again, I mean, remember, Happ had the hamstring going into the regular season, and he missed some games because of a hamstring during the season. Didn't go on the IL, but we've kind of waited on that too. So if Davis is hitting the cover off the ball, maybe that's the next move that you make. That's something that we'll find out. I don't know. But what I will say is, you have to take advantage of the fact that you have a system full of players that can play, because it's not going to last forever. I mean, they're going to trade guys away. They're not going to be able to keep all of these guys on the 40 man. Guys like Jake Slaughter, who you didn't have a spot for. You trade him for a pitcher. You get a guy that was DFA'd and you bring him back. And that's what happens in these situations. When you have so much talent and you only have a certain amount of spots. Jonathan Perlaza, I love this guy. He's in Korea right now hitting. You didn't have a spot for him on the 40 man, and he was too good for to sign with a team if they weren't going to put him on the 40-man. So he goes over there, gets paid, and he's crushing the ball. So, yeah, we'll see. I think that Haps never really recovered from the hamstring injury that he had in spring training. I mean, like, that's kind of my gut feeling on that. So, but we'll find out. Anyway, guys, that's why I wanted to jump on. I'm glad that I was just in this spot where I could do this and report this, because I've kind of been waiting around to see when Luis Vasquez was going to get called up. So according to his mom, from reports, he's on his way to Chicago. That means there's going to be another move. That tomorrow's an off day, so they may sit back on this, and he'll get there, and we won't know right away. But go Cubs! Love the Cubs. Love seeing them with all of these issues, how hard this team plays. And honestly, Craig Counsell has done a great job of keeping the ship above water with with all these star players out. But they're not scoring runs right now. So it may be time to tap into that farm system and see what those guys can do. So thanks for hanging out. Thumbs up, guys, if you would do that for me. And I will talk to you guys again soon.